This is Arma 3. This is Arma 3 when you finish this video. Now let's not waste any time, shall we? Go! This video is designed for you to come back to and watch each part of the game you're interested in playing. If you're returning to this video, jump ahead to whatever you want to learn about Arma 3 next. Speaking of not wasting any time, let's get to it. Open Steam, find Arma 3. Click play. The Arma 3 launcher opens. Click play. But before you go do this, know that you're not getting the best experience, unless you watch the next part of this video. Now go back to the launcher. Parameters. All parameters. Check Show Static Background and Menu, and check Skip Logos at Startup. Go down to Worlds and select Empty. These settings make the game launch faster. There's a whole bunch of other options here that some people say to use to boost your FPS, but that's mostly outdated. If you're on a 64-bit machine, which is any new PC these days, you don't need to touch anything else. Alright, let's load back into the game. When you're back at the main menu, go to Options Video. The easiest and generally the best thing to do is just click Auto Detect. Then go to AA and PP, and like any sane person, turn down Bloom, Radial Blur, Rotation Blur, and Depth of Field to 0. Of course, there's all kinds of other settings in here. If you want to get the most out of your frames per second, you can come back and watch my FPS boost video, linked in the description below. Click OK, go back to Options Audio. Now set your volume sliders. The important one is to have your voice over the net volume to be much higher than effects, music, and radio. This way you can actually hear people talking in game over gunfire and explosions. You can study the controls if you want, but they're kind of confusing and they overlap. Luckily, we have a training segment that teaches you all of the controls you need. To really get a hang of the game, do as much training as you can handle. Training includes the controls. Watch to the end of this section for an option to make your controls more modern. To train, start with Boot Camp. Absolutely start with Boot Camp. Boot Camp starts you into 5 separate little missions that make a total of about 30 minutes of gameplay. Boot Camp gets you all of the must-have knowledge in this game, including tasks, aiming, navigation, shooting, waypoints, interactions, fatigue, stances, weapon attachments, maps, and driving. Boot Camp can only get you so far. Those are just the basics. Next, go to VR training. When you open VR training, you'll enter virtual reality. You have options for training. Orange is available. Blue needs to be unlocked by just completing other training. To start a training, just point and shoot at the training indicator. In VR training, you will learn about material penetration, placeables, launchers, target designation, commanding movement, actions, and vehicles, and then helicopters, basic weapon systems, sling loading, and advanced. There's also weapon handling, including weapon sway, weapon inertia, advanced stances, and weapon stabilization. Once you complete VR training, you should feel pretty good about yourself, but that is still not everything that you could learn. The next place to complete your training are the showcases. The showcases are demo missions of what Arma 3 has to offer. All of its different features include things we haven't even touched up on yet, such as jets, scuba, drones, gunships, and tanks. Another great way to learn the details of the game is to join a unit or read Dyslexie's tactical guide linked in the description below. If you forget anything but do not want to go back through training, check out the field manual, which can be found in the main menu and the pause menu. Arma 3 is complicated with its controls, and they are way different than most modern shooters today. That's why I created Arma 3 Remastered, which comes with a much more intuitive and simple keyboard layout. It feels much more like today's modern shooters and does not feel like you have to learn a whole new language. If you want to give the vanilla controls a go, you can grab the official Arma 3 key layout. It's pretty cool because you can print it out, cut and fold it into a 3D stand. For single player, you should start with the campaign. If you click into the campaign, you are given a bunch of different options, which you can click to open and start a mission. The main campaign of Arma 3 is the East Wind campaign. On the bottom left are game options. You can select some of the settings such as difficulty and HUD elements. Alright, the next option for single player are showcases. Showcases are where you can try some of the different features in Arma 3. There are challenges where you can participate in firing drills and time trials. Finally, are scenarios or custom missions you can create or download off of the Steam Workshop. Notice that some of these showcases have icons next to them. These icons represent the DLC that they came from and the DLC that is required for you to have to play the showcase, and that's a common theme amongst everything else that you'll find around Arma 3. Then there's the editor where you can create your own scenarios or missions. We will touch on the editor, custom missions, and the workshop more later. Interested in battling other people in multiplayer? The easiest way to start in a multiplayer game is to click Quick Play and select a mission type that you might be interested in. Know that this game is kind of old, so some of these game modes do not have any active servers. Warlords is a good PvPvE mission where you'll have people on your team and people on the other team as well as AI to battle. Zeus is basically Dungeons and Dragons, but for gun nuts. King of the Hill is a popular three-way team deathmatch over a zone. You say you want to actually look into the server browser? The best way to look into that is click server and filter and sort for a type of game you're interested in. You can sort by the number of players to see which servers are being played on right now. Servers that have a green circle with no question mark in it are the servers that you can join right now by clicking join. Be aware that you can't just join other servers. This server with the question mark on the circle means that mods on client and server don't match, so I can't join those servers. There's an easy way to get around this, which I'll go over right now. Exit and close Arma 3. Open up the Arma 3 launcher, go to servers, go to the internet tab. Clear all your filters and the servers will start appearing just like in-game. We have the green dot as usual. Let's say I want to join this server right here with the green question mark, so I couldn't join it before, but here I can actually click join and a window appears showing all of the mods that are needed to join this server. So you can see here mods required by the server, and then it has suggested additional mods that are allowed, but they are not required. I'll have to subscribe to these mods, which means I'll have to download them, but that's super easy because all I have to do is click this orange button, set up DLCs and mods to join, and boom, everything will start downloading. Once that's ready to go, I will automatically launch the game and join the server. Remember, you still cannot join a server using a map from a DLC you do not own. Once you're in the lobby, you will see role assignment. This is where you actually get to select which role that you play. Think of it similar to how Battlefield has classes. You can also choose which team to play on by selecting a side. Now click OK and load into the game. Before you just go running and gunning, know that one of the first things you want to know when playing on a multiplayer server is how to chat with other players. The default key for talking over the game is caps lock. If you would like to change it, you can go to your controls, multiplayer section, push to talk, hold the key down and you can talk to your teammates. You can also type into an in-game chat using the / key. Then you can type and press enter. A problem with chat is that there can be 100 people in a game, so Arma 3 is designed so that there's not too many people talking to you at the same time. You can change where your text or voice chat gets sent to by hitting the comma and period keys. Group chat sends text to your squad. Your group depends on your selected role. Vehicle channel means that my chat only goes to people in the same vehicle that I am in. Direct communication is a local or proximity chat. It's as if I was talking in real life. Somebody close to you can hear you, but people far away cannot hear you. Global channel is where everybody can see or hear your chat. Side channel is where everybody on your team can see what you're saying. Command channel is a special channel for squad leaders to talk to high command on their team or to the Zeus. You can switch roles, players, or teams by using the team switch menu, U by default, which is available in some missions, and select any available player. The nanner servers are a great place to learn, play, and have fun with your friends. Heck, even play with the Arma 3 remastered mods. If you wish to host a private game with just you and a small group of friends, go to multiplayer, click server browser, host server, type in the name of the server, select LAN or internet depending on what type of network you are playing over. The port by default is 2302. You do not need to change this. You can set your max players and you can set a password if needed. Select UPnP and host server. Once you host the server, you'll have the option to select your mission, and so the first thing you'll do is select your game options. That is your difficulties, which is where you can set UI elements and AI skill. Then select the map, and from those maps you can see that there are different available missions. Select your mission, click play. If UPnP fails or if your buddies cannot see your server in the server browser, watch my video on this exact problem. Interested in being a dungeon master, Zeus? You need to play this showcase. It will show you how to be a Zeus. If you didn't know already, Zeus is a person who can handcraft missions live and in response to player actions in the same exact way a dungeon master from Dungeons and Dragons works. Zeus creates a fun atmosphere and game for other players to play. Are custom missions more your fancy? Try the editor. Click tutorials on the top right and follow the remaining steps. It's time for you to get familiar with your equipment. Virtual Arsenal is where you can find every piece of equipment and weapon that Arma 3 has to offer. Start from the left column where each box has an item slot starting with your rifles and going through each item slot in your inventory. Anything on the right side is something that attaches to the item on the left, or if you open something like the backpack, it's where you can add magazines, first aid kits, grenades, and throw them into the bag. Not only can you try out weapons and gear, you can try out vehicles by clicking on the virtual garage on the top of the screen. Here is the similar interface on the left is the type of vehicle you would like to try out, and then you can add characters to a seat. You can try different components if the vehicle has them, or even paint. Once you have a loadout you want to try, you can click try and you'll be loaded into a realm. This is where you can test out weapons, try out different stances. To go back to the arsenal, just press the escape key and click arsenal. Same thing with the vehicle. Once you pick a vehicle, just click try and you will spawn in the vehicle and start using it. To save yourself time, you can save loadouts in the virtual arsenal to be used elsewhere in the game. These loadouts can be exported and shared with your buddies, or you can borrow your friend's loadout and import them here. To do that, just click export. Paste the text to Notepad. When you're ready to import the loadout, copy the text from the notepad and then click import. By default, Arma 3 does not come with any preloaded loadouts, but you can quickly get a bunch of handcrafted loadouts by downloading a profile. Linked in the description below is a profile with preloaded loadouts, which is part of my major project, Arma 3 Remastered Preset. For more info on Arma 3 Remastered Preset, watch the mods section of this video and updates on my channel. I suggest you hit that subscribe button now. And don't forget to like this video. Now, speaking of profiles, you can switch your profile at the main menu by going to the top right and clicking the profile icon and then clicking your profile name. Here, you will have a list of profiles installed on your PC. Usually you'll start out with just one profile. If you create a new profile, you can choose your player name that people see in-game. You can change your default face and voice that comes out of your character. The profile not only changes these items, but they also set your unit, controls, settings, saved custom missions, and game progress. Your unit will show your tag and your unit's logo. And now for everybody's favorite part, mods. Arma 3 is highly customizable. So customizable I have spent over a year fine-tuning the Arma 3 Remastered preset to up to par, or better than today's newest shooter. I will share more about Arma 3 Remastered preset at the end of this section. The game is technically a military sandbox game. Just like kids playing in a sandbox, their imagination is their limit. In Arma 3, there are 3 main types of mods. 1. Mods. 2. Scenarios. And 3. Compositions. Scenarios are custom-made missions that somebody made in the editor. You can find them by going to Scenarios and clicking the blue Scenario button, which then opens you up to Steam. Once it opens up to the Steam Workshop, look for Scenarios, find a mission, and click Subscribe. That will download into my game, which then I can play the scenario like any other mission. Note that some missions require mods to play. You can download mods from the Steam Workshop, so click on the Steam Workshop button. Your web browser opens to the workshop in the same way as Scenarios. Find a mod you want. Click Subscribe. It will start downloading immediately. To find mods that you have downloaded, open the Arma 3 launcher. Go to Mods. Any mods that you have downloaded or subscribed to show up under Available Mods. Then you can just check the checkbox next to the mod to activate so that they are in your next game. When you hit play with mods, notice that the scenario I downloaded is not on this mod list. So if you subscribe to a mod and it doesn't show up on your mod list, it was probably a scenario, or it could have been a composition. Scenarios show up only under scenarios or missions. Compositions can be found in the editor or when playing as Zeus. Some mods require other mods to run, otherwise they won't work. In the launcher, I see the red chain link saying I have other mods that this mod requires. So I will need to click the chain link. I can just click Fix Selected Dependencies. This will load the selected mods, and missing mods will automatically be subscribed to. Those mods that I'm subscribing to are now downloading. All my mods are ready to go. I can just click Play with Mods. On the bottom left of the main menu, you can find which mods are activated in this instance. Many mods require and use another mod called CBA. CBA sets up mods to let you customize some of the mods options and the controls for these mods. You can find these options in add-on options. Add-on options are grayed out unless I start a mission. The easiest way to do that is to go to Virtual Arsenal. To get to add-on options, press Escape, Options, Add-on Options. If you want the best Arma 3 experience, save time and use Arma 3 Remastered preset. The mods absolutely transform the game to have all of the best features of modern tactical shooters and more without any bloat. The base mods for Arma 3 Remastered preset take up about 1 gigabyte. If you do not want to have to remap your keybinds or edit add-in options with the Arma 3 Remastered preset, then use the Remastered profile. You could also just copy and import the add-on options linked in the description below. Please be aware that each multiplayer server decides which mods are allowed to be used on their server. Definitely try out Arma 3 Remastered in Singleplayer and tell your favorite server admins to add the mods from Arma 3 Remastered preset. Now, a big issue with this game that everybody experiences is low frames per second. Everybody's used to 90, 120, or 144 frames per second in tactical shooter games. Don't expect to get that in Arma 3. Arma 3 is ancient and it does not know how to use your modern PC efficiently. It doesn't really matter how good your PC is. Once it's good enough to run this game, it will run this game at most 60 to 80 frames per second or 100 if a server is highly optimized. You can try to boost your FPS as much as possible by going through my FPS boost video, linked in the description below. Just be aware that the FPS boost benefits cap out on multiplayer servers. You can also aim to get a CPU with a higher core speed and increase your RAM clock speed. If you're going to plan on using a ton of mods, or heck, even just a couple of large mods, you will greatly benefit from having a faster hard drive. M.2 solid-state drives are going to be your best bet, then SATA SSDs, followed by your regular hard drives. It takes time to load these mods and start your game. The slower hard drive you have, the longer your game will take to launch. You might sit for 5, 10, or 15 minutes just to start the game. Once you load the game, hard drive speed makes only a little difference. Now that you might know what you're doing, you might be interested to join a clan of other people who might know what they're doing. A clan is otherwise known as a unit. You can find these units in the Arma 3 units database linked in the description below. You can also search out for them in the Steam forums, clanlist.io, Reddit, or the official Arma 3 Discord, or the Nanner Discord. That's cool too. A lot of these units are great. They're filled with passionate people who will teach you everything you need to know about this game and more. There are all kinds of units. Some of them are focused on different eras, such as World War II or universes like Star Wars. I'm going to assume you have already decided to buy Arma 3, so I'm not going to spend any time convincing you that this timeless gem is still a top 100 most played game on Steam despite releasing all the way back in 2013. Some of you may not even have existed then and is unmatched in scale, realism, and customizability. Like you can play as an anime girl. But you may be wondering, which DLC should you buy? With the game being available for so long, there's a lot of outdated or just wrong information out there, so I'm going to make it clear. You do not need any DLC to enjoy this game. But there are plenty of good reasons to buy some of these DLC, so let's go over them first. You should know that the base game gives you access to the main campaign, multiplayer, mods, really everything you need. You just can't play on some terrains. Can't pilot or drive DLC vehicles, but you can ride in them as a passenger. You will get on-screen ads when you use DLC weapons gear or vehicles. That's right, you can technically use DLC weapons, gear, and vehicles without owning the DLC. You just get a little on-screen ad. The main reason most people buy DLC is for the terrains. When I say terrain, I mean maps, like in Call of Duty. Depending on the DLC, you will gain exclusive access to missions, and you can kiss those on-screen ads goodbye. Mua. But there's a lot of DLC, and they're kind of expensive. Which one should I buy? It really comes down to what you want. But most people say get Apex first, then get SOG Prairie Fire or Contact next. And after that, Western Sahara. Everything else is debatable. Now, before you go buy DLC for this game, check for sales. You can do that by going to the website, steamdb.info. Search Arma 3 and scroll down to price history. You can look back several years. Arma 3 is on sale a lot, like 9 or 10 times a year. That's almost once a month, and the game and DLC go up to 75% off. When you have DLC, you can see on the bottom left of the main menu which DLC are activated. To know exactly what you're getting from each DLC, click on the DLC icon on the bottom left of the main menu and select the DLC you're interested in. You might be wondering what a CDLC is. CDLC are community DLC, which are DLC developed by a group other than Bohemia Interactive, the most popular one being SOG Prairie Fire. These are optional DLC that add content to your game, and you can just activate them and load into the game specifically using that CDLC. They're similar to regular DLC, just developed by different people. Then there is what I call RDLC, aka Remastered DLC. These are optional mod packs to add to the Arma 3 Remastered preset for quickly enhancing your experience by adding realism, immersion, or quality of life mods. You can find these on the Steam Workshop or in the description below. You're ready to hit Battlefield, feel free to come back to this video to reference anything and any other useful information that I have ever found. I also have a bunch of other links in the description below for anything that might be useful to you. Anyways, have fun and don't get yourself killed. Oh, and here's a video to get you started on Arma 3 Remastered preset.
Easy. Now you try. First, get a jar. Patrick, that's a nuke.
Yes.